Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to An Appropriate Amount of Soup podcast, where we discuss novels we're writing, novels we're reading, and dumb ideas about other people's novels. My name is Shannon Davis. With me is Dom Shorthouse. Jonathan Dominic Shorthouse, is that right, Dom?
Not Jonathan, just John.
Plain old John.
Yeah. Have I ever told you the funny story about that?
No, I heard it on another podcast, actually, which is why I know about the whole John thing to start with.
Well, if you've ever listened to the podcast Pain in the Arts, you may have heard this story, but here's the deal. I moved schools when I was in grade 2. Yeah, the end of grade 2, halfway through the year, I switched, and I'm sitting in this new school on my first day, and they're reading out the roll, and they're like, I don't know, Susie Ryder, blah, 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 blah. John. Everyone sits in silence.
Mm-hmm.
John. The whole class looks at me. John, the teacher's looking at me now, and I'm John Shorthouse, and I'm like, wow, there's another kid in this class with the same last name as me. And the teacher's like, that's you. And I'm like, it's not. My name's not John. So anyway, I say my name's Dominic. We go through that. I get home that day, and I'm like, weirdest thing happened at school, Mum and Dad. They thought my name was John. And that was the day that I found out on my birth certificate my first name is John.
So how old was that?
Second grade.
Which is 7?
6 or 7? 7, yeah. It's a family tradition. My dad, I discovered later, my dad is John, known by his second name. He's John Blake. My grandfather, John Sidney. My great-grandfather, John Stephen. Goes back for however many years. They just didn't bother telling me.
Right, so no one told you your name.
Exactly. And names are important.
Yeah, so I'm a middle name John. Not a Jonathan, I'm a John.
Yeah, I know. Well, what's interesting is we actually have the same initials in a different order.
Yeah, hey, we do. That took me too long to work that out.
Letters are hard.
It's only 3 letters. That shouldn't be that complicated. But yeah, S, J, D, yeah.
Yep.
D, J, S, yeah.
So your nom de plume is S. John Davies,
it is.
Right? And so mine would be J. Dom Shorthouse. And we each have do you know what I mean? Like we've each taken the first name as an initial.
Yeah. Have I told you why mine? Have I told you about mine? Is
there a Shannon Davis who collaborated with David Eddings? Is that what happened?
We're not phrasing that again. So we did a... that's too inside. It's too inside. What are you doing to us?
Listen to our behind the scenes episode to find out what that means.
We did a pilot episode 2 weeks ago that was a bit of a practice run for this. We will upload it next week, which will discuss the whole David Eddings thing. And why bring up David Eddings again? Look, I'm moving on. So Shannon John Davis is my full name. I was doing some short stories. I was putting them into different collections and anthologies, and I submitted to one, and I had a story that was accepted. I can't remember what the story was, but then I went through the process of doing contracts, getting everything ready, like, yes, you can use my story, this is fantastic. And then when I signed on as Shannon John Davis, because I put my middle name in when they asked for the full name, they responded to me with a bit of we were looking for contributions from female authors for this anthology.
Wow.
Hey, every time I say that my name is Shannon, everyone just assumes that I am a woman. I am not. And so I just went, let's just make this easier for everyone. And I just changed my writing name to S. John Davis.
That's interesting. I think I've met more male Shannons than female in my life. I think the only female Shannon I can think of is Shannon Doherty of Beverly Hills 90210 fame.
And can you think of other Shannons than...
I can't.
Shannon Doherty?
Shannon Moffat. Was it Hey Shannon Moffat, if you're listening? I went to high school with you. We were mates.
Hi, Shannon.
Yeah. But his nickname was Shan the Man, so that did make it quite clear.
That helps. I should have done.
Yeah.
I should have done that.
That's Shan the Man Davis presents a short story about the feminine struggle. Yeah, I like it.
When I stop using S. John Davis, I will just start using Shan the Man. It is something that I've thought about as we launch this podcast. As to, I'm doing this podcast under my actual name, and if we develop some sort of listenership, then it becomes a thing of, well, then do I change my pen name to Shannon Davis to, you know...
Well, what I'm hearing is if we hit 1,000 listeners, Shannon will change his name to whatever you vote for.
Yeah.
Legally.
Yeah, I'll do it now. Call in, folks. Call in. Yeah. Hey, that's nothing to do with what we were going to talk about or what we were going to do or anything that should be happening in this podcast, and we're a good 6 minutes in. We're just talking nonsense, which is fun. I enjoy it.
If you are, dear listener, expecting more than this, I hear there are some other podcasts about, which maybe will be slightly more serious.
Shush, Dom.
Shush, sorry.
Mr. John. Because
so,
we want everyone
Shannon,
listening to this. Hey, yes, go.
I hear you're working on a new project.
I am. Well, not a new project. I actually had this come up, and this is going to be part of this conversation we're going to discuss today. So I was having a chat with a friend of mine recently, and she's doing some writing of her own, and I'm being an encouraging sort that I am. And I said, send me some of your writing. I'd love to read it. And she said, send me some of yours. And I sent her my last piece of work and some of the things that I'm also working on. And what my current project is, it's a collection of 3 novels. And they're all comedic fantasy. They all tie in together. And the idea is going to be that they are all standalone novels, but they also tie in together. So if you read one, great, you've got a full story. If you read all 3 of them, you get the full picture of what's going on. And then down the road, if this is all successful, there'll be a 4th and a 5th novel that will actually then have a full ending to the trilogy if you've read them. But you don't need to read all of them. But then when I sent that to her, I saw that I had the year that I'd written that and finished the first one, which was 2022. And geez, we're in 2026 now. This is all taking a while, and which is the problem.
I can't help but feel that's a bit of a dig at me, considering I think our novel we started in 2019, and it is still unfinished.
Did we?
And it is my fault. I think so. Well, I moved to the States 2021, and we definitely started at least a couple of years before then. I would love to actually look back through our correspondence and see when it started, if only to just hate myself a little bit more.
Well, see, this is what I actually wanted to talk about today. Not how much you hate yourself and why you should hate yourself. That we can, manage on our own.
I think it's my turn this week. Last week was about how much you hate yourself. This week's about
last week, which will be next week if you're listening to this.
Oh gosh. It's like Inception. No, what's the other one? Tenet.
I didn't see that. Was that David Tennant from Doctor Who?
It's basically David Tennant going backwards through time.
Is he David Tennant or David Tennant? Is there an N?
He's Tennant. There is not. No, there is in the actor, but not in the movie.
Is he sometimes found in tents?
Wow, that would be even less letters.
Is he intense in the tent? No, sorry, look, we'll move on.
He's not in Tenet. So no, he is not intense in the movie. He's very intense in the movie. He's not in
He's not intense. He's not intense.
No.
He's not in Tenet, but he is David Tennant.
Tenet.
What were we talking about?
Multi-years writing a novel and not hating yourself.
Yeah, and so I wanted to discuss that. One, how do you keep motivated on a multi-year project like that? Because I don't know about you, but the way that I work is my motivation is intense, and then it is nothing, and then it's intense, and then it's nothing. I'm hot and cold. And the way that I will write a novel is I will wake up one morning and go, I'm going to write a novel, and I will punch out 4 chapters that day. And then I won't touch that thing for 6 months, 8 months, 12 months. And then I have to go
So the implication... I was going to say, the implication from what you're saying is that there's another way, but I am yet to discover that too.
I feel like there might be some people that will actually do work gradually over a period of time and just be productive with their lives.
That's the whole... Isn't that Stephen King's thing? Is that, if you want to be a writer, you have to write every day.
I thought Stephen King's thing was to do a lot of cocaine and then just be awake for 3 weeks and write 2 novels in that time.
I think that's his old method.
Okay.
I think the new method, in an attempt to be sustainable, is to write something every day.
That feels more sustainable.
And look, if you are a successful author who is making enough money to support yourself by writing a book, by writing multiple books, and have stopped doing cocaine, that's a much easier proposal than, as you have 2 small children, I have 2 kids, I have multiple jobs, we have so much going on. I find that there aren't enough hours in the day as it is, and so finding time to write is down the bottom of my priority list often.
Sure.
Do you find the same?
Yeah, so my writing time is generally between 10 and 11 p.m.
Yeah, wow, after everyone's in bed.
That's it, yeah. So that's when I'm most productive, is once everyone else goes to sleep. But what I find is that often I want to go to sleep, which creates a problem.
I have had great success in that I have, for the last few years, every year I go camping on my own. And I actually take a little mini generator and my computer, and I get a lot of writing done. I find the removal of literally all distractions, like I'm out of phone service, there's no one for many miles, I eat a lot of red meat, and I write. And I've actually found that really successful, but I can't do that more than once a year. So it's kind of good as a bit of a re-energizer, but it's not good as a way to write an entire novel.
Well, I mean, it would be a good way to write an entire novel. I don't think you've got the right attitude with this.
I don't think I've got the right family situation.
Become a hermit. That's all I ask.
To go, yeah. Hey, hon, I normally go camping for 3 days. Well, this year I'm doing it for a year.
Yes. You know how we have that thing where we have a marriage and a partnership and all those things? What I was thinking, it's a crazy idea.
I've got a better idea, yeah.
It's just going to disappear on you. Yeah, no, I can see how that wouldn't work long term, but amazing short term. And I think having those little things, though, is good. Like, the reality is, for those of us trying to delve into any art, whether it is writing or music or visual arts or whatever it is, we can't always have the time needed to get into it. So if it is every school holidays when I take some time off to be with the kids, I also take a day or two to just cement myself away, be there and just work on what I'm working. That is probably a way to progress. There is also something to do with the temperament. Some artists will talk about a muse and say, when it finds you and then you go away and no, it's just because we're all ADHD and we hyperfixate on things. And then we have the day to hyperfixate, and then I just want to play Pokemon for the rest of the month and be not productive.
So it's interesting you bring that up. I actually, in the last week, got diagnosed with ADHD, which came as no surprise to me. But it has meant for the first time in my life, and I am nearly 50, that I am medicated for ADHD. And it's been really interesting, and I am hoping it's going to help me with my creative endeavors, because what I've found with ADHD is, or what I've found with the set of symptoms that have affected how my brain works in a way that I thought was normal, is that I have so many ideas and so little application of ideas. And talking, one of the things that I found very motivating is accountability, as in writing with you.
Yeah.
Writing this novel with you is the first time I've ever actually finished a novel. And I used to always joke I've got a folder full of 100 first chapters, because that was inevitably what would happen. Is I'd write, I've got this great idea about, and it's this guy, and he lives here, and he does this, and this happens, and I write that first introductory chapter, and it's cracking, and then I never look at it again.
Yeah, and I think that's, not just the first chapter, but I know I've gone online and I see people, and it always makes me laugh. You'll see people that will discuss, I have the best idea for a book, all I need is someone to write it for me.
Yeah.
But no, that's the easy part.
Yeah.
You've come up with an idea, everyone can do that. The hard part is actually sitting down, taking the time to write out the 60, 80, 100,000 words, and then editing them, and then going back, and then editing them again, and then adding, taking, and going through that whole process. That's the hard part. Yeah,
I read an interview with, I think it was like Paul Anderson, or one of those very prolific science fiction authors,
David Eddings,
whose book more prolific.
Oh, great.
And it was exactly that. It was, I get, every time I go to a conference, there's someone who goes, hey, I've got this great idea for a novel. And he's like, oh, I've got a great idea for a novel too. Why don't you write this one?
Yes, 100%.
And yeah, that is the challenge, is, how do you find the time to put the idea in enough words to make it worthwhile? Do you know what I mean? I've talked to people, like I have a complete novel in my head that I've told, like one time I was on a road trip with my wife, and this is 17 years ago, because we just had our anniversary and this was in our first year of marriage. And I spent like 2 hours and I just told her the story. I think I might have tried to write the first chapter of that one, and that's it. But the completely fully formed novel is still in my head. And it's just a case of finding that motivation to get started.
Yeah, and then it's that motivation to continue, right? And it's accepting that for some of us, it's, I'm going to write this novel 2 hours at a time every 20th day of the month when I can break away and score that time. But I think the thing is, for a lot of people, it's accepting that all progress is progress. So for so many people, they'll just go, well, I can't dedicate 3 hours a day, so I'll just throw it in the bin. It's like, no. If it takes you 5 years, 10 years to get this thing done, it took you 5 years, 10 years to get this thing done, and it's done. My first novel, The Town in the North, go buy it. It's up on Amazon still. I've
got it.
Hey, you've got it. I think that took 6 years to write. Because, I was working, I was studying, I was doing family stuff. Life happens around it. As I was saying before, 2022 was when I finished the first novel of this trilogy, and I'm going to release them all at the same time, which means I must have started that around 2017, 18, 19, around there to get that first one done. Like, things take time. That's okay.
Yep. And something I think would be interesting to maybe discuss at a later stage is, how do you balance multiple creative endeavors at the same time? Like, you've clearly written, like you've finished a number of novels. in the time that we've been writing this one together. Whereas I'm like, my mindset has always been, I've got to finish this one so I can move on to the next thing.
I'm waiting for you to throw a question in there, Dom. You just went silent on me.
No, it was like, maybe we can discuss that at a later stage.
Why am I better than you? Is that the question?
Oh, I don't think that's a worthy discussion.
We can discuss that. That's fine. Call in.
Call in. Why is Shannon better than Dom? Yeah, I'm just trying to throw out ideas. I'm sorry. I keep thinking you're my muse.
No.
But then I remember I'm your muse.
Well, not even. I don't think muse is the correct word. Whipping boy?
Below muse? Whipping boy. Okay. I am the reason for your failures.
There you are.
I apologize.
There you are. I had a number of transitions into our next segment, and then the conversation turned into a negative space, and now I don't have any transitions. So this discussion about how I don't have a transition has become a transition in itself.
A transition.
See how I've done that?
What I find is, yeah, it's really clever. But what I'm looking at is the notes that you wrote before this started.
Yeah.
And one of the questions you wrote is, how do you maintain an audience over long times of silence? Which I was experimenting with earlier.
Yep.
And it didn't work. You couldn't handle it and started talking almost immediately.
So the long periods of silence was not meant to be. Hey, we did it. Was not meant to be in a podcast sense. Was to do with the fact that I wrote. So I did Town of the North, then I did Humbuckle Ramshackle. These are my quiet little plugs, which I can't remember the year of release, but it's been probably a decade since I last released a novel. And then it's, well, as novelists, how do you continue to maintain some sort of audience? Because if you're in a band or something like that, you like release singles every now and again, keep it percolating, keep people interested in what you're doing. You go on tour, you engage with your audience. As a novelist, these things take years to write, unless you're Chuck Tingle and you're just releasing filthy erotica almost weekly. Get on Chuck Tingle if you're not already on that train. Sorry,
which is obviously the goal
erotica,
for all of us.
Weekly erotica.
Well, just like if it pays the bills, I'm down.
Yeah, and now ChatGPT's involved, and we'll just get that to write all of our novels for us. Yeah, hey, I did a transition, and then we didn't follow that transition. I'm going to go back to that transition.
Well, speaking of authors, can I introduce to you...
Dom, I'm going to show you this, where I've unplugged my headphones in my laughter. So don't talk, don't say anything as I plug this back in. You've caused technical difficulties.
That is how you segue.
All right. So look, we've done an earlier. We'll do it next. We'll show you next week our pilot. But the idea of this show is that what we want to do is we want to take some other people's work. Dom and I are going to read it. We're going to look at it, and we're going to look at the first chapter of that story, because Dom and I are very busy people. We're very important people. We've got a lot of things going on. We don't have time to read full books anymore. So we're going to read the first chapter, and then to you, our listeners, we are going to explain what we think would be the ending of that book, what we think would be a good way for that author to take that story, what they're going to turn it into, how it's going to progress, and ultimately finish. So we're going to finish these books for it. So if you have written the first chapter of a book and you want to know how that book should go, just submit it before you've even written it, and we'll finish that sucker off, or you can just write it out.
You just get a whole bunch of submissions from an author whose name is like an anagram of my name. It's the 100 first chapters that I've written over the last 40 years. Yes, that's the real reason I'm doing this.
Yeah, right. So it's all just going to be some variation of SJD or whatever.
Yep.
And if you do want to send that to us, that is amountofsoup@gmail.com is how you do reach us. So this author has reached us this week, and it is Michael Kellichner. And Michael, I want to say to you, thank you for breaking down how you say your name. So in the email that Michael sent to us, he did break down that surname because I was immediately going to say Kellichner. And I'm really happy that he told me to know it's Kellichner. So thank you, Michael. And so Michael is a poet and a writer, grew up in central Pennsylvania, is now in South Korea with his wife and daughter. Michael writes short stories, which can be found in various magazines. Some of them are free online, so go and search for him. Also in a number of anthologies, some published by Cygnus Magnolia Collaborative Writing Project. And today we're going to be discussing A Debt to the Dead, which is Michael's debut novel. Now, Dom, I've done a brief synopsis of the first chapter of this novel. Did you said something about you had some notes and then you lost them. Is that correct?
Yeah, foolishly, I am a pencil and paper kind of guy.
Uh-huh.
And I was teaching today, and so another teacher is going to find my barely sensical scrawls about this first chapter. But I would love to go through it. I really enjoyed this.
Me too.
It's interesting going into this because I really didn't know what to expect. You know, usually I'll read a book based on a recommendation. It's rare that I have a completely cold introduction to an author or a story. So I didn't know what to expect. And starts off, the protagonist is drunk and drinking, by what I can tell, some pretty nasty moonshine, stumbling around in the winter when a nightingale flies in.
Yes. Now, so I'll go through some notes that I've put through. The first thing is that I want to bring up, I think we discuss it, we'll find out when I post next week. Make sure you're listening next week with our pilot. That is not the way we're going to do things. But anyway, is discussing fantasy names. And that I don't always know how to pronounce these names. You see them written. So the main character's name is spelt ANUHEA. Dom, how do you say that name?
Well, I'm going to suggest on 3, we both say it the way we think it's said, so neither of us feels any stupider.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Anuhea. Dang.
What did you
totally
say?
Different. Anuhea.
Yeah, I'm saying it Anuhea. Anuhea. And this is...
Anuhea?
This is nothing against this novel or against these characters. This is a common thing in fantasy novels. I'm going to say it the way that I'm going to say it. You're going to say it the way that you're going to say it. And we both, from it sounds like, really enjoyed this first chapter. So please do grab the book and have a read yourself. And then you say it whichever way you want to say it as you read along at home. But I'm going to say Anuhea is drunk and he is an elf. He is asleep.
We don't...
Hey?
I think, to correct you, I don't think we find out he's an elf till quite a bit later.
Well...
That was one of the questions I had.
So I'm including notes that I have from the first chapter.
Okay.
So it is explained in the first chapter that he is an elf.
It is definitely... Okay, so the reason I bring that up, I was very impressed with the pacing and the reveals in this chapter. That you go in, obviously, we hadn't even read the blurb, we knew nothing about it. Mm-hmm. And the way that Michael
say his last name.
Out the information.
No, say his last name.
Kellichner?
Kellichner.
Did I get it wrong?
You did. Go on.
I did.
Yep.
Dang it. Anuhea Kellichner. Dang it.
You tried.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting, even to the point. there's almost a twist. There's a reveal towards the end of the chapter that I really like.
And no one's going to get that if you don't get the book. So we're not going to reveal it in that way. I'm just going to give some notes. So if you want that excellent writing, that excellent pacing, you're going to have to jump on board and grab Michael's book, A Debt to the Dead, and we will have all the links up on, in the links. Look below wherever you're listening to this. If it's check the various bits where we write about the podcast. You'll see it down there in the righty bits.
And did you also find it's very it's good at creating mystery, this first chapter as well. It asks, or it creates a lot more questions than it answers. It mentions a number of times that Anohea attempted to kill a god but failed.
Dom, it does, but I haven't read that part out yet to the listeners.
Yeah,
Do you want to just hang with me for a sec, bud?
If I must. Are we doing it a sentence
it's
at a
mandatory
time
hanging
again?
with.
It's Dickens. Here we go.
Anyhea is drunk. He is an elf. He is asleep. It's snowy. It's wintry. Yet he has his window open because he was drunk. A nightingale flies in and lands on his toe. This nightingale can talk. They are in an old...
This is not normal.
Well, how many nightingales have you met?
Surprised. I haven't ever lived in a fantasy realm full of elves.
No, nor have you met a nightingale. Come on. Have you?
Well, can I make a point that one criticism I have of Michael is he describes the nightingale as black and as a silhouette in the night, and nightingales are generally brown.
And can there be a silhouette in the... Look, we're getting distracted. Let's move on. They're in an old woodcutter's cabin, which is dilapidated. The bird thinks that Anyahea is a legend, but Anyahea does not agree with this. There is an old well that is mentioned. A bit of foreshadowing there. Anyahea questions if the bird is from the royal court. A little bit of more foreshadowing. We don't know what this royal court is. The bird keeps referring to our protagonist as the many-handed. And I have here, how many hands does this mean? How many hands is many? Anyahea has 2. Maybe more foreshadowing. Maybe there's a many-hand spell. We don't know this. Anyahea may or may not have fought a god. Then later it's revealed that he did. Or at least he definitely annoyed a god of some sort. There is speculation that this bird may be a demon or an elf, but what we definitely know is that it is from the family of the night breeze. And then later we find out the bird is actually Astra of the Wilds, which comes on behalf of Ivalius. How did you say that one? Ivalius Nightbreeze.
That way. The thing with fantasy names is I don't say them. They create an identity with no noise. Oh, it's that guy. Oh, it's that guy. Oh, it's that guy. And then eventually someone, in this case you, forces me to say it out loud.
Yes, I do the same thing. Yep. But Evelius is the only remaining member of the Nightbreeze family. Oh, and actually, I've got it in my notes. No, I cannot pronounce Evelius correctly.
Yeah.
Great. I did these notes last week, by the way, so that's why I'm laughing at my own nonsense. Anyahea is haunted by the memory of Tinyu. We know nothing of Tinyu yet, but we do find out that Ivalius is Tinyu's brother. We find out that there is a new god, and this new god is the new power. I've put in brackets, he sounds pretty cool. The new god's loyalist...
The new god?
Yeah, the new god.
Sargon?
I think that's in here later.
I believe it's his name.
Sargon, something. I have his loyalists hunt down anyone who opposes him, which in any other global political climate would allow for jokes, but in this case we will not do that.
Yeah. Just for those who are wondering, Shannon lives in Australia and I live in the United States of America.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, me too. Anyway, moving on.
But you live in the good bit, up the top there. Not down there.
No.
We love anyone who's from anywhere, though. We find out that Anyahea escaped from the sky prisons. Anya was declared a traitor, but did not receive the traitor's brand, which is potentially more foreshadowing. Anya has lived a rich, full life, which generally doesn't go well for characters. Ivaleus has been captured by the New Gods' followers. The New Gods hate elves, much like Santa Claus. Later we find out that this New God's name is Sadok, which is suspiciously close to Santa. Ivaleus may have old elven magic. The cultists will torture him to get it. Anya is revealed to be a thief. Maybe he stole hands. The bird knew Tinu, and she told her the story of how Anya rescued her as a child. The bird uses this information to manipulate Anya into helping, in brackets, but in a nice way. We discover that Anya's old travelling companions are dead. He is all that remains, and he swears to save Ivaleus. This is part of his debt to the dead, which is the book title. And we assume that this dead is his travelling companions and Tinu. Did I miss anything there, Dom?
No, I think that's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just actually looking over the first chapter now because there was a couple of sentences that really, really blew me away with how engrossing they were. That just and I've realized the problem with this podcast is the idea that we will just read a first chapter is dumb because if they're good, I need to find out what happens.
Well, Dom, nothing that we do is dumb. And we're going to discuss more about this book after these following messages. Which I say to put a cut in this because my child woke up, so I need to go get him out of his.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hold on one sec. I'm going to get him up. Are you interested in literature? Coffee? Comfy reading nooks?
That's boring. You're boring. Crazy Joe Laser Go-Kart. Be there.
We are back from that commercial break. They were probably just a straight cut. I did just my son woke up. Basically, I record while he's having a nap, and now he's having a squeezy, so he's happy. Sorry, Dom. We were talking about the first chapter of the book.
We were.
You loved it.
I did really enjoy it, and as the most of this chapter is this dialogue between Anuhaya and a nightingale, which is really impressive at revealing what is to come. And the bit that got me, and I actually let out a gasp when it is revealed that Anuhaya, because let me pause for a second before I give this grand reveal. The idea of the broken hero dragged out of retirement is not unique. This has been used before. It was reminiscent to me to begin with Patrick Rothfuss's Name of the Wind, which is very much that. It's a hero whose glory days are long past, who's trying to live it down, live the quiet life, and is dragged back into it. Even movies like Unforgiven, or can't think of any others. Like
anything with Jason Statham in it.
Yeah, we're getting the band back together, but what got me is towards the end, it comes out that this is not a sword-wielding, barbarian, Conan-type hero. He's a thief. And I went, oh, it's a heist.
Yes.
So that's what for me, any attempt to fill the rest of this story, it's clearly going to be a heist, which is a great genre. And the fantasy heist is one of my faves.
I'm so glad you say that because my notes just say Ocean's 11.
Oh, really?
If this was my book, I am writing the first few chapters, and you're going out and finding just a cohort of miscreants forming a group together.
100%.
Yeah.
Gosh, what was I going to say? Yeah, it is also revealed that the rest of his crew is dead.
Yes.
So it's at this stage, it's Ocean's 1.
We need a new crew.
We do, which is incredible. What it made me think of is, gosh, what's the name of that author? The Grishaverse. Shadow and Bone was the series that they made. Is it Leigh Bardugo? I think is the name of the author. Yes, she wrote a couple of novels called The Six of Crows and can't remember what the next one is.
Mm-hmm.
But they're fantasy heists. There's the Lies of Loch Lamora is another series, and this is a fantastic genre. So well done, Michael, on writing into this because I am excited.
So we're saying if we were to write this, our first few chapters are around finding other characters that we would rope in. What sort of character tropes are we looking for, Dom?
Oh, well, the first one is you need the muscle, and that's the first guy they go for. And
does the muscle have to be stupid?
No, the muscle doesn't have to be stupid. And normally, if I was writing this, the muscle would be drunkenly pit fighting, waiting to die. But we've already done the drunken trope.
Sure.
So unless we're going to have the entire crew be drunk, I think there's got to be some other twist.
We could have a drunken crew.
That would be pretty fun, actually.
Yeah.
So there's some other reason that he's retired. And I like the interesting dynamic that it is a new crew. Like, it's not the Ocean's 11 thing of getting the guys back together, even though they may be reluctant. So, I would say the next chapter needs to be something like talking to some fence or something. Like, because he's lost his crew, he's probably still got some connections. He needs to find out who the new guys in town are.
So he's going to a tavern. Or something. It's a fantasy setting, so he's got to go to the tavern to find.
It's a fantasy novel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because apparently in fantasy settings, it is much easier to get connected with organised crime syndicates.
I think
To be fair, actually, I've never tried to get connected with an organised crime syndicate, so I don't know how hard it is.
Didn't you live in Cambodia?
Yeah, but the organised crime syndicate there is... Yeah, so they weren't that approachable.
Yeah. Or organised.
Yeah, for that matter.
All right, I'll just move on from that so I don't say anything that's going to get you into trouble down the traps.
Well, it's going to get you in trouble.
Oh, me?
You're the one making slurs. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're not allowed to do that in Australia anymore. There's new legislation. No. I'll tell you about that later. Okay, so we're going through. We've gone to the tavern. We're finding out our cohort. So we've got the muscle. There's going to have to be some sort of lock person. There's always a lock person.
I just realised we've made a terrible mistake.
What have we done?
We said it was a heist. We didn't say what the heist was.
It's heist, getting back a brother.
Yeah. So it turns out that his apprentice, who is Tinoir. Tinoir. It is definitely implied that she is no longer with us, but I felt like there was a little bit of ambiguity.
Oh, she's coming back. That's the twist. There's 100%.
So her brother is the last alive who was leading the rebellion against the god that our main character tried to kill and failed, who is now in charge.
And he's going to be a bad guy, by the way, at the end. But go on.
Oh!
What, is that not... Okay.
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow. Yeah, I don't like that.
Sorry.
I like it as an idea. I already feel attached to that character and don't want him to turn bad. Yeah, so they have to break him out of prison, basically. This is the heist.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you need the lost guy. The beauty of doing this in a fantasy world is magic. You don't need the technical skills or the vast financial resources of Ocean's 11, but you need magic, which gives a great opportunity. Because one thing I really like in fantasy is the explanation of magic. How does it work in this world? So definitely, chapter 1 chapter 2, fence. Chapters 3 to 5 is getting the team back together. And there's got to be a whole chapter about how the magic works, which is exposited as they approach Magic Ian, who is the...
You'll find out next week, ladies and gentlemen, who Magic Ian is. I like the idea of adding magic into this, but just to completely derail and destroy the story. Like, so it's all, he's locked away in this dungeon. There's no way to get him. Boom. Magic user comes in, teleports right in there. Hey, how you doing? Grabs him, teleports, boom, out. Story over.
Well, how about, so that is what happens, but the story isn't over because they're stealing this guy from a god.
Right.
So the god is like, oh, you stole him back. I have near omnipotent power. Watch me destroy worlds. Because there's a great description in that first chapter when he harks back and he remembers...
Did he stab the god?
No, he stabbed the god. He tried to stab the god in the heart. That figure. This sentence: he grit his teeth against the image of trees tearing from the soil, roots and bedrock all tumbling into fissures, ripping through the earth, the world sundering. So this god's got some skills, got a few tricks. So maybe it could be they're running away from the god with the brother, going, now that we've rescued him, like, where are you safe from a god with this level of power?
Before we get there, I'm going to retreat us back a little bit. So this is how we're going to get there, right? We're going to have Anyahei goes off. He forms his Ocean's 11 style collective. He's got his muscle. He's got the locks person. He's got the acrobat, because there has to be an acrobat. He's got this whole team assembled, and then a magic user as part of that team. They go across to the new world. They go into these dungeons of the god. They break through. They do the whole, like, they change the security cameras or whatever is the magical fantasy equivalent of that. And while they're doing that, the magician just goes in, grabs, what's this character's name? What's the brother? Ivalius. Grabs Ivalius, pulls him out, and then disappears. They get in. He's already gone because the magic user's got him. And then they're all escaping. They find each other together, and now they've got the new god's wrath. Dom, over to you.
So I would suggest some sort of MacGuffin, some safer harbour. Someone knows a place where they are safe from the god somewhere. And it is like this chase scene of them trying to escape the wrath of the mad god. Because it also explains in the first chapter that he has a whole bunch of lackeys who are very loyal to him.
Yes, the cultists.
They get to the safe place. And I would suggest, because here's the interesting thing, they're elves. What are elves known for?
Making toys.
Different elves.
Sorry.
These are your traditional Tolkien-inspired elves. They're old. They can live for a very long time.
That's also true.
I'm going to suggest like a huge time jump where they just hunker down in the safe space for 50 years.
Okay.
Back to you.
So where I wanted to go with this was that safe space. That is where the Nightingale and Tinu are. She's not dead. She is not dead. And if we were looking at that first chapter, we don't know if she's dead or not. So this is Anyahei, our main character's understudy, that we discover in this first chapter, and that he is grieving. He goes there and he finds out that she's still alive. So he's rescued her brother, and then he takes her to the hiding place, which is going to be their elves. It's going to be a forest. You know it's going to be a forest. Or if we're going pre-Tolkien elves, it's the moon, which is just something for you all to know, ladies and gentlemen, that elves used to live on the moon. And in my novels, get them when they come out, they're back there. Anyway, stop shilling my own stuff. So yeah, they get to the forest. Tinu rescues them, and this is where we discover that Ivalaeus, the brother, is actually the villain of this story. So he is going to invite the new god into this forest that is protected by the gods, the old gods, which they couldn't get into before. So the whole thing was that they go, they break him out, they capture him, they run away with him, and that they go to this place all because it was a trick to lead the new gods to the place of the old gods, to that sanctuary where there can be a final showdown.
Epic boss fight.
There's your twist.
Wow. I don't see that there's any more needed. You just get the really cool fight.
You just get a fight and then the good guys win. Or the bad guys win if you've got a sequel coming up.
Yeah, totally. Oh, or the bad guys get away.
Where do they go?
To the moon. I think you made that pretty clear.
Hey Dom, we've got mostly an audio podcast. There is no video in this, and you're holding up a weird little toy to the camera. Which
My daughter just made that, and I think that's our new mascot.
I love it.
Look in the show notes for a photo of Creepy the Crepuscule.
Right. Well, we don't actually have. So Dom has a friend who he will plug after I finish talking, who does book covers and design work and the like, who is going to be doing up a little logo for us to put up on our socials. We don't have that yet. Maybe we can just put up a photo of your creepy guy. Maybe I'll just use some AI stuff as a filler until we can get it. Whatever it is, but we have actual art coming. Dom, plug your friend.
My friend, his name is Spencer Fuller. He's an incredible book designer. He's done books you may have read. China Meeville, Terry Pratchett, a whole bunch of textbooks and stuff. And fortunately for us, he likes me enough to be willing to help us out.
I love that.
So if you have other skills that are related to novel writing and publishing that we might not have thought of, we would love to talk to you. Not just to see if we can get free work out of you, but also, to provide a resource for other authors to talk about some of the things maybe you don't think about. The interesting thing, these days, you might write a novel, it might be a fantastic novel, but to get a publisher to be interested in you, you've got to have already...
Can you hear my child crying in the background?
Quite a lot.
He loves to cry. Yeah. I tried to get this done while he was napping, but he woke up. Sorry, this is James. James is crying in the background for anyone listening. I'll try to cut as much of that out as I can. Sorry.
But yeah, like social media marketing has become such a vital part of publishing. And I don't know about you, Shannon. I am garbage at it. I think I have.
I am as well.
5 or 6.
If anyone wants to reach out to us to be a part of our little projects, we are at amountofsoup@gmail.com. We didn't touch on why this podcast is called Amount of Soup. And that's because there really is no reason. Dom, do you have a reason why we're called Amount of Soup?
Yeah, it's not called Amount of Soup. It's called a suitable amount of soup.
An appropriate amount of soup, I think you'll find.
An appropriate amount of soup. Because there can be a tendency for authors to follow the Dickensian method of writing, which is to use all the words. And one of the words they might use, which Shannon mentioned, if you listen to our pilot, was soup.
Soup.
And we think it's very important when writing a novel, especially writing a first chapter, to use an appropriate amount of soup. Now, how do you feel about this book, A Debt to the Dead? Does it have an appropriate amount of soup?
I really liked this, and I don't know. I've got to double check the email that Michael sent to us, whether or not he sent us the first chapter or the full book. Because if it's just the first chapter,
he sent the first chapter.
Michael,
he just sent the first.
Send me the book. I'm gonna have to go and buy the book. He's got me. It was fantastic. I really
It was
enjoyed this one.
fantastic. What I liked about it regarding soup, it had potential for more soup, but I didn't feel like the soup was missing. It being cold and wintry, he could have been drinking soup. He was in fact drinking moonshine, which I think really added to the character.
Yep.
And yeah, I would give it at least like an heirloom tomato and basil rating. Like that's the kind of soup we're looking at.
I'm going minestrone for this one.
Yeah. Honestly, that was my second choice.
Yeah.
I've got to admit.
I don't know what the scale is. But okay. And so for anyone wondering a little bit more about the book, just so that you know. So here's the blurb that we have. It says, before the world ended, Anyahei was a legend until he failed to save his apprentice. Now he's a drunken recluse, burdened by guilt. But when one of the few survivors of the old world comes seeking his aid, Anyahei is faced with a chance to repay a debt he thought would follow him to the grave. The task: steal the brother of the woman he failed to save, sealed away in the bowels of a citadel, controlled by the New World's militant religion, following the new god who destroyed the old world. His only ally is a nightingale, all that remains of a once powerful shapeshifter who lost her powers when the forest burned. Yeah, we learnt something there. Don't read the blurb, it tells you too much. We didn't have that in our story. Don't worry about our story. It was good. With the task seeming impossible, Anyahei knows he can never face the dead again if he fails. So what we invite everyone listening to this to do, go grab a copy of this book. We'll put it in the links in this podcast, so look down below. Have a read and then post a comment. Let us know how close we were. Is it an Ocean's 11 style heist book, or does it go completely off the rails to that and it's just a horror story? Well, I don't know. I haven't read it yet.
Does it become very heavy-handed with the soup? We don't know. How
much soup becomes a part of this story? It could be significant. It could go full chicken noodle.
I really hope Campbell's cream of... What was it? I said Campbell's cream of celery. We haven't worked out the scale yet. Yep, but definitely at the bottom is Campbell's tinned cream of celery.
Right.
That sounds dire.
Is the top just Andy Warhol?
Yeah. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this podcast. I really enjoyed this process. I love reading. I love the opportunity to get into books by new authors, and I'm really enjoying this. Again, if you have any submissions, if you have written a novel, please send it to us at amountofsoup@gmail.com, and we would love to have a read of it and see how this goes.